program evaluation is an important step in allowing programs to better understand the areas they do well in, as well as points where they can improve. Every program most likely has some sort of measure in place, whether it's doing independent analysis or if a licensing agent comes in. That's a form of program evaluation, but it's actually more of a required evaluation. Before we specifically look at the environmental rating scales, I want to point out this awesome publication called Quality in Early Childhood Care and Education Settings, a compendium of measures. Now, I have never even heard of the word compendium, but it's basically a very concise listing. And in the case of this document, we have a table of contents. This is just the first half of the table of contents that lists almost every type of assessment tool or measure that you can imagine for early childhood settings. The table on the right shows us an overview of the program, as well as which age group it's intended for, and then the primary purpose. After this, you get into individual pages where each of the measures would be described. Who created it? What was its purpose? How is it divided? What's it actually measuring? Lots of different details about each of these program evaluation tools. So this Quality in Early Childhood Education document is a wealth of information and is available to look at online. Environmental rating scales are a series of measures, program evaluation measures that are used to help programs better understand their areas of strength and areas that they need to improve in. In the state of California, licensed programs are not required to use these, but programs that are funded by the state of California are. So you can see that there's an infant toddler. It's referred to as the ECERS. That's the blue one. And there's the yellow one, Early Childhood Environmental Rating Scale. That's for preschool. There's a school age one, as you can see in lavender, and a family environment scale. Each of these measures helps a program determine areas that they can improve in. There is also a program administration rating scale that's intended to help programs evaluate the administrative side of their program, but it's not by the same authors. I'd like to give you a short overview about how the environmental rating scales work. The one I'm going to show you is from the ECERS, Early Childhood Environmental Rating Scale. However, all of the scales work about the same way. In the beginning, there's a page of information that allows the observer to record all different types of details about what was going on the day that they observed. You can see how many children are enrolled, how many children were present, what time did they begin observing, how many adults were present, all different types of information, so people can understand what was going on the day that the observation took place. The next thing is that there is scoring on several different measures, and we're going to just look at one of them so that you can get an idea of what that looks like and how it works. We're going to focus on this first measure in the subcategory of space and furnishings. The measure focuses on just indoor space. As you can see, there are measures in each of the columns. The basic gist is the further across the page you get, the higher the level of quality. In a high quality program, all of the columns 1 would likely be no, and then the rest would all be yes. Let's take a look. In 1.3, space is generally in poor repair. We would expect that that's going to be a no. We would have to go down the entire column and mark them. No, 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 no. If there was a yes, we would stop at the end of that column. If any of those things are a yes in column 1, that's the end. We don't go any further. However, assuming they are all no's, we would move on to the 3 column. And the 3 column, we hope they will all be a yes. Enough indoor space for children, staff, and basic furnishings for routines, play, and learning, yes. And then we move on to 3.2, 3.3, 3.4, 3.5. And we hope that all of these are yeses. And then we would move on to the 5 column. Ample indoor space that allows children and staff to circulate freely, enough space for mealtime, group times, and suitable space for activities and free play. As you can see, by looking at the measures, the very basics of safety are identified in the first column, and then as we move through the upper columns, they become further and further up a continuum of quality. So an average center might score more in the 5 range, where a very high quality center would likely be in the 7 range. That said, most programs have things that they can work on in the environmental rating scale, helps us find out what those things are. A little bit about scoring. If someone, as I said earlier, scored a yes in the 1 column, we would have to stop and the score is a 1. We wouldn't go any further. However, let's say that all of column 1 are no's and all of the 3 columns are yeses. And we get to the 5th column and it says some direct natural lighting through windows or skylights in 5.2. If there's no direct natural lighting in a room, it's completely closed and no windows, then we know that we have to mark that a no. And we would only finish marking the column because all of the 5s were not a yes. That means we would drop the score back to a 4. The more you do the scale and the ratings and the scorekeeping, it gets easier. But basically, in order to get a 7, all of those have to be no's in the first column and yeses on everything else. If one item in 7 is a no, the score backs up to a 6. If 2 items in 7 are a no, it would drop back to a 5. I know it can be a little bit confusing, and I know this is a very quick and dirty overview of the scoring measures, but hopefully it gives you an idea of what an environmental rating scale looks like and gives you a little bit of an understanding of the correlation between the statement measures and then how you mark them on the score sheet. As I said, there are 4 different environmental rating scales, and teachers and administrators should select the one that's most appropriate. Generally speaking, if you had a child care center that had infants through preschool, then they would be using the blue one in the infant and toddler rooms, and then they would use the yellow or the early childhood environmental rating scale for their preschool classrooms. It would not be appropriate to use the wrong scale for the wrong classroom because the findings would be inaccurate. I hope this helped you get a little bit better understanding of the environmental rating scales and what they can offer a program. There's a lot more to understand. In fact, there are entire trainings that are designed to help people be better observers in using the environmental rating scale so that they can go in and observe someone else's classroom and have a very standardized way of looking at things. Once the entire scale has been scored, there are sheets that allow you to look at where the program's strengths are, as well as areas for growth. Remember, the goal of all program evaluation should be to help improve the care that we are giving to the children that we work with each and every day.